on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Happy Friday, for that matter, too. The Schumer shuffle. We're having a good time with it, that's for sure. No. Yeah, we've got a lot of news to get into. Also, if I've got time, I hope I will, I'm going to let you guys know about this. I shared it with my Law of One group last night, but I had a really weird dream 2 nights ago. Sleep paralysis, and then kind of a weird information dump after. I'm just going to give kind of a basic skinny of it. Talked about 3i Atlas, of all things. So we're going to talk about that a little. It was just so much information. I don't know if I've even still able to put it into words properly. So like I said, I'm just going to touch upon it. Maybe one of these days I can do a video. We'll see. I'm kind of looking to get a little more info downloaded, if you will. But the sleep paralysis thing was weird. I hadn't experienced that since I was a young man, about 10 years oldish was about the last time I remember. Only time, really, I remember it happening. So, again, we'll talk about it at the very end. All said, let's do some rock and roll here, man. We got some good stuff. Oh, another Pritzker sighting. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. This was on a freeway this time. Somebody actually managed to get him on camera, which is impressive, frankly. He was fast.
We're live over the 405 southbound, just past Culver. That, yes, is a full-grown man wedged into a child's plastic car leading this pursuit. Deputies say he took it from a backyard early.
Dude's hauling ass. Good job, Pritzker. Reasonably sure that's him. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Couldn't tell you if it mattered. More than an accident. There is a discussion around this explosive facility that blew up in Tennessee. I kind of talked about this too. The idea of it possibly being sabotage or an MK Ultra situation, which would still be sabotage, struck me because this had to have been, an important facility. Come to find out, over 60% of our weapons systems were receiving their explosives from this. Now, again, we've got other explosive production facilities. Not a lot of them, I don't think, but this one was actually very, very heavily involved with our defense industry. Heavily involved. So it does add a little bit more credence to the possibility that this could have been sabotage, act of war, I don't know, any number of things. John Bolton actually indicted on 18 counts over mishandling classified documents. They got him on the, we'll get there. They'll tell us. I'm trying to blank on the charge, but he, of course, says he's not guilty, which is fine. Espionage, I think they're getting him for. But anyway, here's a little bit of the video on that, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, so John Bolton was charged with 18 federal counts, and I apologize, I'm going to look down. I'm reading this. We're still just getting this. We have the first 8 counts are transmission of national defense information. The second set of 9 counts, that's counts 9 through 18, is retention of national defense information. And that looks like it's U.S. Code Title 19, Section 793D and E, which is part of the Espionage Act. Now, there was another statute that they were considering, and it looks like they've only charged him with those Espionage Act statutes, but we're still reading through this indictment. It's 26 pages long. There's a lot of background information here, and I apologize, but we're literally just getting this in right now, so I'm still...
Yeah, start of many, many more to come. So we've got Comey, we've got, Bolton, who's the other one, too? There was another one that was mentioned. So we've had 3 of these guys so far, and there's, one of the Q posts that cracks me up still to this day is the first arrest will set the, I forget the exact way it's quoted, but the first arrest is going to kind of like set the pace, set the mood, set everyone's minds. Like the first arrest is going to matter. And what I find interesting about it is I kind of think Trump was the first arrest. I still do. And many are like, no. And I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, all right, well, he was arrested and all that. But okay, it might not be. Even though that really did start a whole big kind of movement. And it could have been the first one, Comey, or we got Comey, why am I drawing a blank on the third one? Was it, well, I think it was one of the, like Letitz James or one of them. I think that's the third one I'm thinking of. She was indicted as well on the mortgage fraud. I think that's the one that had the cousin living there. Anyway, a whole lot of weird going around on that one. So, I don't know, who's first arrest? When do we start counting that? Like, are we expecting someone else? No, like, Brennan's not big enough, so maybe it's got to, or Bolton's not big enough, so maybe we need Brennan, or, like, so anyway, it's kind of funny. This is another one of those things, like Epstein, in my opinion, where everybody's got a very fixed idea of what they expect to see, And then when things don't happen that way, they're like, well, that didn't really, no, it hasn't happened yet. Or it's not, we didn't get everything, or we didn't get the list. Or, yeah, I just always this like missing piece. It's strange. But yes, former NSA John Bolton surrenders to authorities over the mishandling. So he is, quote unquote, I believe, incarcerated, or if they're letting him out on maybe they're going to let him out while the trial's happening. It's all possible. Patel says FBI found more weaponization crimes. It's close to solving the command and funding of Antifa, which is very interesting. But he tells Just the News that the Bureau is on the verge of unmasking the command structure and financing for anarchist groups like Antifa that have been unleashing unrest around America, and has also identified potential new criminal activity related to the abuse of federal law enforcement and intelligence. We are looking at so many different leads on criminal activity by these who are in positions of power, and we are not going to stop until every single one of those is fully exposed. Patel said this on a larger debate on Just the News. We, I think, played some snippets of it yesterday, but this is some more stuff that's kind of come out from it. But he said these indictments that you've seen, the ones that you're going to see coming up here in the near future, are just the beginning. So promises that more is to come for sure, and the concept of F around and find out is happening, and then on top of that, nobody is above the law. We're going to see that abusing them over and over and over. FBI raided Charlotte Black Lives Matter activist Cedric Dean's properties in alleged multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud scheme.
Now at noon, FBI officials are a home near the Palisades as part of an investigation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nia Hardin, but this is happening right now on Youngblood Road. WBTV investigates. David Hodges is on the scene and has been digging deeper to find out what is going on. David, what is happening right now?
Yeah, Nia, we're still trying to get information. I have spoken with one of the agents here, but right now I just want to actually show you the scene because that gives you the best idea of what's going on here on Youngblood Road. You can see most of these cars are undercover but have blue flashing lights. You see the occasional CMPD cruiser as well, but I went over and spoke with one of the agents, and this is an FBI investigation. I've confirmed from an FBI spokesperson that this is a court-authorized investigation. But that is about all the information they're giving right now. Like I said, we got here at about 11:30, so we've been on scene for 30 minutes. This is about the amount of cars that have been here. You can see that the driveway is blocked by one of these undercover cars with blue flashing lights. What I've been doing since we arrived, and even before that a little bit, is actually digging into who owns this home, which is somebody that we have reported on some in the past. His name is Cedric Dean, a community activist, and runs services for the homeless and some of the population who are underserved in Mecklenburg County. So we're digging deeper into that aspect of it, but all we have right now from the FBI, again, is that this is a court-authorized investigation. I'll be digging deeper into the other aspect.
I feel bad. He's got like a spot on his suit. Poor guy. Yep, Cedric, though, BLM guy, he's come into play a number of times. Deems submitted inflated or false claims to Medicaid. Uh-oh. Yeah, they're going to likely be in some big trouble going his way, which is good. A lot of these people are finally getting caught, man. That's what it's all about. Here is what's going on in left Chicago at the ICE facility, or over by it. Police are actually helping right now, which I think is awesome because the National Guard's not allowed to go in still because of the courts. We'll get there. But at least they're, I don't know, they seem like they're sort of kind of maybe arresting people. Here's an example. So they're actually managing to get some people pulled out of the crowd and arrested. So this is fantastic. And this, again, their tactics typically have been to kind of hold their own, protect them, right? And they were doing the chain thing there, but they were able to pull them free. And technically, if you're trying to help resist someone's arrest, meaning if you're holding on someone's arm while someone's trying to take them into custody or detain them, you could very well be detained as well. So it might be one of those fun situations where you get 2, 3, 4 in the chain because they're all chaining themselves up. All right, you want to chain yourselves up, then you're going to be chained together, separate squad cars, but you guys will be
and tomorrow. You guys
will be down there at the station together. You can chit chat while you're down there. Student for Justice in Palestine backs the Gaza executions. It says death to collaborators. We've still got this kind of nonsense going on in our schools. And this is pretty messed up. I mean, really, just anybody celebrating death is really, really messed up. And again, Trump did his truth. I talked about it yesterday, but if Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Thank you for your attention to this matter. AKA, we'll beat your ass. Texas governor deploys DPS National Guard to deter Antifa violence at No King's Day protests. So he's preparing for it out there in Austin. I did see a story floating around where someone, I think, misunderstood. Well, one, I don't even know if it's the real Hermit Dillon or whatever, because it's not her gray account. It was a blue check mark. So I don't even know if it's true. But the statement kind of made it seem like that the protest in D.C. for the No Kings was actually like they took the permit away or something. I don't think that's true. I couldn't find any verification of it. In fact, saw places where Harmeet was talking about it or others were talking about the fact that it was going to happen still. So I don't think that's true. Anywho, Turning Point USA just smashed the records for the largest ever attended political event at the University of Oklahoma. Over 6,000 people showed up. That's pretty cool, right? Oops, I hope I probably skipped it. Nope, I don't think I did. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. There we go. Trust yourself, Dan. 2 Rutgers University students they say they're being targeted for calling out professor they accuse of supporting Antifa. This is kind of an interesting story. I've got it playing a little bit faster, but check this out. It's interesting.
Welcome back. At Rutgers University, the director of student involvement and leadership is pushing to remove 2 student officers from Charlie Kirk's group Turning Point USA.
The move follows the students setting up a petition to remove a professor known with alleged ties to Antifa. This, of course, happening in New Jersey. NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with the pair about the case.
Turning Point USA Rutgers Treasurer Megan Doyle says students expressed concerns about Professor Mark Bray, especially after Antifa was declared a terrorist organization. Bray, nicknamed Dr. Antifa by students, is the author of Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, a book that openly calls for militant anti-fascism.
I believe that his rhetoric of political violence and harassment and doxing against these people he calls fascists were concerning for conservative students.
Despite authoring the Anti-Fascist Handbook, Bray has denied his involvement with Antifa.
But in his handbook, near the introduction, he states that he would be donating 50% of the author proceeds from this book to the International Legal Antifa Defense Fund. This Legal Antifa Defense Fund has notably given legal support to 10 suspected Antifa members who were charged with terrorism and attempted murder at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas on July 2025.
Doyle says Bray is also advocating doxing.
Page 87 of Mark Bray's Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook. Doxing is a very important tool to create conflict within far-right movements because it establishes a constant mental burden.
Doyle and Turning Point Outreach Director at Rutgers, Ava Kwan, started a petition calling for Bray's removal.
He's very biased towards students with more conservative views, and we took issue with that, and we decided that it was important that we take action, which is why we started the petition.
Soon after, the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership, Karima Woodyard, began pushing to remove Doyle and Kwan from their roles at Turning Point, reportedly due to eligibility rules, and called for swift action on the subject.
She knows exactly who we are. So for this investigation to be happening now is, of course, because of our outspoken opposition on Mark Bray, and it looks like to be a selective enforcement of the school's procedure, and it's completely unfair.
Both women say the media has played one of the biggest roles in the pushback they have seen since the petition came out.
They've been peddling Mark Bray's lies that he is not associated with Antifa. And, we've had counter petitions come out that have stated that we're inciting violence and making threats, all baseless claims that are completely defamatory to our chapter. And it has led to now Megan and I receiving threats. And I've also been doxxed by, many of these leftist activists. So it's just been peddling this wave of negative attention and lies that Megan and I have been receiving.
And in another move against Turning Point at Rutgers, Professor Tia Kolbaba, an associate professor of religion at Rutgers, also signed a petition to remove the campus chapter of Turning Point USA, accusing it of promoting hate speech. Kwan says she got involved in Turning Point because she wanted to help build a safe community for conservative students on campus who want to voice their beliefs.
And the main reason why I chose to join Turning Point was because of Charlie Kirk's videos. He left a lasting impact on me. And there was not a chapter in my high school, so I decided to join one in college as soon as I found out about it.
Kwan is calling on conservative students across America to keep up the fight.
We need to keep living the way that Charlie Kirk lived and keep speaking our minds.
Rutgers responded to a request for comment saying the 2 Turning Point USA officers weren't properly registered or eligible under school rules. Professor Mark Bray did not respond as of broadcast time on his affiliation with Antifa. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Yeah, that brunette chick looks just like my niece. My niece is 13, though. That looks just like a slightly barely older version of my niece. That would bring me great pride if she were like that. Probably be a shame to her parents, though, just like I am to mine. It's all good. Something to be proud of there, boy. Pissing off your folks. It's always fun. Chicago PD gave illegal alien a badge and a gun. Are you kidding me? I don't even think this is legal. It's what they're talking about.
They gave a guy a badge and a gun who's not a citizen to enforce the law against citizens. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts and beyond. So this whole thing is, he claims that he had work authorization. One big question we have to get to the bottom of is, how did he get work authorization from USCIS if he wasn't authorized to be here? He didn't have immigration status. He claims that he's requested asylum and never heard back from the attorneys, and he's waiting for his court date and all this stuff. Bottom line is, and again, I told you this off air, Steve, guy was a nice guy, seems like a nice guy, said he loved America, but you can't own a gun. You haven't sworn allegiance to our country. How could you possibly be a cop in our nation, which is supposed to uphold our Constitution, the citizens of this nation to uphold the Constitution? And that begs the question, how many more, we saw it in Maine, how many more across America are not just non-citizens, are illegal aliens as well?
Well, and you pointed that out. It's not the first time we've heard that there's a police officer in this country carrying a gun and a badge who's not a citizen. How can you be a police officer when your first act is to break the law and to continue to break the law every single day as you carry that gun on duty, I guess? It's completely unacceptable. It's completely insane. And I have to say, look, the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, he's got to be culpable for this, too. I mean, he is in a place where he's, fighting back against the federal government. This is all part of the problem.
Yeah, these guys, these leftist activists, cities and states have created these policies where think about the insanity of this, Steve. They don't allow their law enforcement to work with their federal law enforcement partners. In some cases, they're actively obstructing them. You've got Aurora, Illinois, just down the road from us, whose mayor is ordering his police to actively interfere in ICE operations. But yet those same police departments can then they can create laws to say, we're going to hire non-citizens to be in our police departments. If this is not anti-American, if this is not the intentional destruction of our country, I don't know what is. And you look at Illinois as an example, but California, you can do the same thing.
Hold on,
Massachusetts, all over the country.
Take it to the next.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I mean, it's happening all over the country. It's disgusting. Reporters leave Pentagon en masse after all but one rejects the new rules. OAN. That's pretty cool. Good for them, by the way. One America's Network or whatever the hell they stands for. But yeah, everybody, even Fox. But yeah, One America News. They even Fox. So whatever. I think it's cool. I'm glad. I love that they're throwing a tissy. I love that it's Axios actually reporting on it, and Reuters, which is funny. I actually have a Reuters story today. Government shutdown. We got a couple of stories around this. There's no point of the Department of Education is one of the things that Linda McMahon's come out and said. She's like, literally, everything, teachers are still getting paid, school's still happening. Department of Education literally does not matter. So it's a bigger push to go ahead and shut down that entire organization. This will likely be one of the things that Trump does once he's allowed to mass fire. I think he's going to shut down almost the entire Department of Education. There's a few things that he's going to transfer over, but this will be one of them. This shutdown's probably going to last a while. We've got others talking about the shutdown. This is NBC or CNBC, and they seem kind of anti-lockdown, that's for sure.
Polls are as good as a person that's get on the sample poll, but I love the passion. Honestly, I love the passion and the frustration you have because we have the same issue. Only thing is, my mama told me a long time ago, you can't argue with crazy. And when you're dealing with a situation and this is how crazy it is. Remember this continuous resolution that is clean, meaning that
they voted on. Schumer backed it once.
Schumer wrote it.
Right.
Remember, this is a CR that we voted on back at last September to keep the government open when Schumer was leader of the Senate and Biden was in the White House. This is the same one they voted for in December, same one they voted for in January before President Trump was sworn in, and the same one he voted for in March. There is no right or policy. There is nothing to negotiate. It's a plain, simple CR. If there was some Republican policies that was on this, And there was some give and take. That's fine.
Right.
But they're saying accept our $1.5 trillion to open it up for 2 weeks, or we're going to stay shut down.
It's pure and simple blackmail that they will
Agreed.
not do it without Republicans doing what they want. And if the shoe was on the other foot, and it was a couple of years ago, I guarantee you the media would be going insane that Republicans had shut down
I've never been a fan of anybody shutting down the government. It's the wrong way to do.
You mean if the Schumer was on the other foot? That's so funny. No, it wasn't. That wasn't that good, but I mean, I had to. I mean, right? Here's some more of good Speaker Johnson. I like this guy anyway. Some of you guys maybe don't, but Speaker Johnson, I think, doing a good job. He says, unprecedented, this shutdown.
And this is what he said, quote, "The cavalry is coming in on October 18th, and they're either going to be celebrating you or they're going to be calling for new leadership in the Democrat Party." Now, I know who heard that. Chuck Schumer heard it. Hakeem Jeffries heard it. And their actions and their votes show that they are taking that as an order. Evidently, they've decided it's more important to show a fight to President Trump and appease this mob than to reopen the government and ensure the American people are taken care of. It's a binary choice right now. And to the surprise of literally no one, Chuck Schumer confirmed yesterday that he'll attend tomorrow's rally. Of course he will. He gave an impassioned speech on the Senate floor. He urged his colleagues to stand with him and fight against President Trump. The fight is absurd. Senator, you've been in office for 44 years. You've been in Congress longer than that, but you've been in Congress for 44 years, and everybody clearly understands what's going on. You're holding the entire country hostage to protect your own political career. I mean, no one can deny that. And what you're doing is absurd. You're demanding $1.5 trillion new spending instead of the clean, totally nonpartisan CR that you yourself voted for just 7 months ago. The whole charade is obvious. And I also want to point out the irony that is equally clear. Okay, as much as we disagree with Schumer and the Senate Democrats and all that's going to happen tomorrow, no one, not a single person is going to be standing in their way of their right to exercise, assemble, and protest peacefully. That alone is a profound testament to the strength of our republic, to the beauty of America. They are decrying the country that allows them to engage in this activity. And the last time I checked, Americans have more freedom right now to express themselves and speak their minds after Republicans took over and ended the years of having millions of Americans' voices systematically silenced during the COVID pandemic years and the left's cancel culture. It is the Republicans that restored your right to share and speak your mind. And that's the first and most obvious irony of the Hate America rally. The second and even more absurd fact is that all the Democrats who are so angry that they don't control the government are the same people who have decided to shut it down and hand the keys to President Trump. That's the great irony. Chuck Schumer said it himself. I brought just 2 lines out of his New York Times op-ed that he wrote and published March 18th of this year. And he pointed out there, in a shutdown, this is his words, the Trump administration would have wide-ranging authority. He said there's no check on their determinations on what is essential and what is not. Chuck Schumer put it in writing and published it. He knew this scenario, and he is the one that has decided to hand the keys to the kingdom to President Trump. When you shut down the legislative branch, the chief executive has the authority to make the decisions in the executive branch. He has no choice. They have turned off the funding streams, and they have to triage the situation with federal spending. Everybody on the mall this weekend should recognize and remember who's responsible for taking the reins of Congress and handing them to President Trump. It's Chuck Schumer. He's the one that's done it, and he can make it stop tomorrow if he had the courage to tell you the truth. But he's incapable of telling the truth right now, and he's doing something that's unprecedented. Never in the history of Congress has a party shut down the government over a clean CR.
And what, like I've said and what we've talked about and what we've all assumed, if the government's going to change in any sort of meaningful way and President Trump's going to do it, is that going to happen by Congress getting together and agreeing with each other? I'll never forget a Saturday Night Live skit where they made fun of Congress, how they couldn't pass anything and it was always perfectly partisan. They even tried to get them to order a pizza and it was perfectly partisan on how many wanted pepperoni and how many wanted sausage. It's impossible. The courts are actually, the district courts are taken over, sure, to a degree, but it's only a handful of justices or judges or whatever you call them. And the appellate and Supreme Court has worked admirably so far. The second, the lady that's blocked Trump from essentially firing people in the government right now, the second that one's held or decided, we'll see what happens, Trump's going to immediately shut down Department of Education. I mean, just literally. And here's where the argument is. Since there's no budget, and Congress hasn't voted on anything, and yet government's having to continue to move forward, we're going to use tariff money to fund the government, which means the only way to move forward is on a downsized government. It's the only way it could happen. Everyone was waiting for the Brunson case to come through. I don't know. I never saw that being viable. Just needed way too much to get over that hurdle. And the military in the streets was another one that I think a lot of people are like, it's the only way, the military was the only way. Nah, because that would have been martial law, and that would have been horrible too. There's no way you're going to get the public on that. Hell, I would have been against that. This is, actually, when I saw it, I'm like, it might work. This might work. They're going to keep the government shut down probably till the end of the year, at least through November. And it's entirely possible that we are literally bankrupt as a nation and just haven't told anyone yet. And this is how we're living through it. Literally. They would never tell us the truth. Even the most transparent government's not going to come out and say something that's literally going to cause people to panic, to run to banks and do bank run, right? They can't. Responsibility to society would actually say you can't tell the truth in that case, that you've literally withhold the truth. You don't lie, per se, unless someone specifically asks you a question, and then you're like, I don't know how you answer that if you're in charge, but you don't bring forward things that are likely going to cause panic. We're in a very interesting place right now. We'll see what happens. Again, this is decisions the Dems make, or Deep State really makes, versus the decisions we're making. So that can always change. It's just the Deep State seems to be stuck in their corner, and there doesn't seem to be any other direction for them to go except I hate Trump. I'm going to go opposite him no matter what. And that works to our advantage heavily right now. Heavily. This is actually the one. Panic is currently erupting among Democrats. A poll just got released by CNBC. CNBC surged 4 points in the 2026 congressional ballot amidst the federal shutdown. Was Democrats +5. Now it's Democrats +1. Democrats can't win the House with that number. And in fact, if this just goes a little bit longer and we keep our rippling messaging going a little bit longer, that trend is going to continue. See, once a trend line starts, it's very hard to turn it around. They actually managed to do that with gold and silver today. Gold and silver took a big crap today, which, by the way, is good. It means the dollar or Federal Reserve notes gotten stronger, but it's not going to stay. But tomorrow's probably going to look different. Well, today's Friday, so they're trying to get it pumped up for the weekend. But yeah, we'll see what happens next week. All said, things are not going well for the Deep State. GOP senators worry about Trump and the Hegseth shutdown moves. I just want to say this, I think is kind of some bullshit news. First off, this is The Hill, but they're talking about, Republicans that want to remain anonymous. I don't know. It's people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and stuff like that. So whatever. It's not to be taken too serious because the leadership is on game and on par. And for the most part, with the exception of the extraordinarily weak members of Congress we have, and the ones that just can't handle difficult times and don't understand the bigger picture. It might be an intelligence thing. I don't know. I mean, you got to be smart to be a construction person, but you don't have to be genius level. Just saying. Thune is going to force Democrats to vote on paying the troops during the shutdown. They've got another bill they're trying to put through to actually just pay the military during the shutdown. They've put this together in the Senate. They're going to force the Senate to vote on just making sure the military's paid. See, the Republicans or Trump or MAGA or, I don't know, people that care about this country, probably just lump it that way, they actually want to get all these people on record showing they don't care about the military, which is going to mean that 100% of the military will now vote for the Republicans. That's 1.3 million or whatever. It's a lot of people across the entire country. There are huge military bases in places like Washington State, for example. Got lots of people that are going to change their votes in many places, of many color, of many races. So go ahead, Senate. Keep doing what you're doing. You are, like Chuck Schumer says, this is getting better every day. Now, it's not from the standpoint of the people that are suffering through this, but the gains being made through this suffrage seems profound. And we'll, only hindsight will show us whether we were right or not, but here we are. I try not to react to what Marjorie Taylor Greene says every day. This is what Speaker Johnson says. I think he actually says it here. He doesn't say it in here, but yeah, he says, I try not to react to what she says. Basically, I don't give a shit what she says. Donald Trump truthed this out. I have 8 great U.S. attorneys, highly respected all, who will not be confirmed for their position in various highly consequential states only because they're Republicans. And the Democrats have convinced Chuck Grassley to honor the stupid and outdated blue slip tradition, which precludes very talented and dedicated people from attaining high office. The Democrats violated this practice in order to get people in, but Republicans just don't. These great people's careers have been badly hurt by the radical left Democrats, using an old and ridiculous custom strictly to their advantage. What a shame. Now, there is the situation where Trump is allowed to do, like if they close down the Senate, Trump's allowed to push through people. Strong chance these U.S. attorneys would be on that list. You see, no Grassley in the way. Grassley doesn't have to change the blue flag or go against it because he doesn't want to be the guy that does that. I don't blame him. I think Chuck Grassley's probably a pretty sweet dude, just a kind old man that farmer, and I think he really is, and at his heart. Now, is he corrupted a little? I don't know. He's in Senate, probably. Silly not to, but I don't think he wants to be. It's kind of like the filibuster. The Republicans don't want to be the ones that got rid of it. The Democrats have been trying to get rid of it forever, and they're trying to trick us, and all you have to do is just get rid of the filibuster. You just need a majority vote on that, and then, see what happens. But they're like, nah, we'll keep the filibuster in place. It's cool. We'll figure out how to get this through without it, or we'll just make you look horrible every single day you don't vote for it. So, again, a lot of things are happening perfectly, it seems. I can't see another viable way forward. This seems like the perfect way forward. Closed government. And Donald Trump says a blue slip means that you're a Republican president and there happens to just be one Democrat senator in a state where you are appointing a U.S. attorney or district court judge. You will never be successful in getting a Republican confirmed. In other words, blue slips are a disaster and have 8 great Republican U.S. attorney candidates who will not be able to fulfill their service to the people of a state that voted overwhelmingly for me. The only one I can appoint is a Democrat, and that's not the deal. Nobody can say that is fair or even constitutional. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald Trump. Now, are they working a case to get against this, or are they going to use this as the reason why they... I don't know. We'll see. Again, I think that... I forget what they call it when the session's closed session appointees or something. I don't know. I forget the name. Something to that effect, probably. Here's Trump talking to Maria Bartiromo. Rebels and Chuck Schumer handling the Russ vote... the keys to slash left-wing programs. I mean, I don't know if this happened recently because, again, we've got a judge that's kind of blocked this, but we know that's not really going to stick, especially as emergency, because all he has to do is declare an emergency. Trump does. And the second he does that, I think a lot of the justices aren't going to have anything to say because then he'll be able to do things no matter what. So I think Trump's got a lot of options. He wants things to play out in the court because it sets precedents. And they're going by the Constitution. He said, and he knows ultimately that's what's going to happen. He's got essentially 6 constitutionalists, even though one's liberal, but 6 constitutionalists in the Supreme Court. Really 8 that are really, if it comes down to something that's just, I don't want to be on this as, like Jumanji. So 8-1, we're going to see a lot of 8-1 stuff, which is ultimately going to probably get resolved once the auto pen gets dealt with. I guarantee you we know how Jumanji's going to vote on the auto pen because it's going to be the end of her. U.S. reports biggest ever budget surplus for the month of September thanks to record tariffs. So, again, they're always like a month behind, especially now with government shutdown. Gold and silver took a big, giant poo-poo today. Well, gold less so. It was way down earlier, though. It was down like 3% earlier, I think. So it's come back a little bit. Yeah, it's come back a little bit. Nice. Again, it's all good. It's all good. This is just means the dollar got stronger. Silver took a big crap though, 5%, but it's gone up. Oh, it's gone up like 3+% per day almost all week. In fact, just for fun, let's go ahead and we'll pull up the month. So you can see it's gone up a lot just in the month. So at the start of the month, it was at 42,952, and it got all the way up to 53. It went up $11 in 1 month. That's how deflated our dollar has been in 1 month. Sure, the prices at the grocery store didn't change that much, so the inflation number that they tell us to our face isn't that much. Silver went up $11 in 1 month. That's actual. That's actual inflation. That's energy, that's gas, that's food, that's cars, that's all that shit. Because everything's gotten extraordinarily more expensive. Rent and mortgage, everything has gotten more expensive. More houses, at least. Mortgages it's one of the good things, by the way, about having a mortgage. They don't raise your price every year unless you get a variable, and then you're just stupid. Get out of the system, guys. If you're in a 401k or an IRA, you're losing money every day. You're losing buying power, I should say, every day. You might look like you're gaining money a little bit. You're losing buying power. $11 in silver. That's like 33%. That's really bad. So the fact that 5% of that's carving back a little bit, cool. Thank God. I mean, gold's still not as bad. But it's gone up. Actually, we should look at that graph even for a sec. I don't even know where it is, so it won't matter. It won't matter. There it is. Yeah, so the idea we've got going on right now, folks, is if you're in a 401k or an IRA, you're seriously looking at losing value. Yeah, so gold, just because it's fun, gold went up, so it's 37.05, and it hit a cap of 43.04. So $600 in 1 month, gold went up. 1 ounce. This thing went up $600 in 1 month. It's not more valuable. It bought me a tailored suit, fully tailored, handmade suit back in 1915. It'll buy me a fully handmade tailored suit now. It hasn't gone up in value. The dollar has lost that much value. This is the one time when this is the smartest investment because it protects your buying power at the point you buy the precious metals. You're going to get as much of it as you can right now, and that will be your protection. That's it. Because frankly, the stocks are going to kick your butt. You are barely going up in stocks. The dollar just lost, I don't know what the percentage actually is in 1 month. Because of the China stuff, because of the crazy stuff that's going on with trade, because of our government being shut down, though they won't ever admit that, because then it would somehow look like the Democrats are causing problems. Things are not good. If you have a 401k or an IRA, diversify, divest, save as much of that as you can. As much as you can. There is a minimum of 25 grand. Sorry. If you're under that, I apologize. You just, maybe cash it out and buy some precious metals yourself. You can certainly do that at Goldco. If you go to drslikesgold.com. I mean, there's other places you can get precious metals. This is the best place. They've got all the customer service that you could possibly need, desire, want, and they're so sweet and kind. And you're going to get up to 10% free silver. Free silver. The thing that went up $11, and they're expecting it to hit 70 easy, and it's going to break 100 probably before all is said and done. We'll see. We'll see, but that's a big difference. And then, again, our new currency, everyone's saying it's going to be precious metals backed, which will mean if you actually get coinage in some ways with your gold and silver, which not all of it's going to be. I don't know how they get it per se. But coinage is actual money. Right? It's money right now. And when we get to that point where we go to a asset-backed treasury note, you're already going to have money. You're going to have an ounce of silver, which will be worth X number of treasury notes, period. End of story. You'll have that because it's backed by that. You're already a step ahead of everybody else. And you protected the buying power you had, which everybody else waited and then lost their ass when the stock market had its moment and continued to lose their ass because inflation is out of control. When you see the price of gold and silver going up, that means you're losing value at that speed. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out. Tax-free, penalty-free. They're going to help you do that. You're going to get a little free Ronald Reagan coin. Kind of cool, too. Up to 10% free silver. Freaking awesome. And a wealth protection kit. You're getting so much stuff. Oh, yeah. And your wealth. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. You've got a 401k or an IRA. Make the call. Hit in the 4 digits. They're going to ask you to call them. Do it. You don't want to get out. They're on the East Coast, especially. So, call them. And there's people on the weekends, but you don't want to wait. Every day, literally in 1 month, look at $11 in silver. You don't want to do that. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. I still love how I just make up slogans. It's cool. Free buses versus more cops. This is Mamdani, Cuomo, Sliwa. I just I don't know what's up with New York. I think the election is totally going to be rigged in some weird way, shape, or form. I pretty much think Mamdani's going to win unless a giant number of people literally go out and vote for Cuomo. Not just Republicans. Not just, Democrat. It would have to literally be a whole bunch of people because illegal aliens are allowed to vote in New York. So Mamdani's he's going to win. He's going to win. And I think most New Yorkers don't support that. But this is what's about to happen. And I think it's supposed to, kind of, but I don't know. I hope we stop it because that would indicate to me that we've actually come a lot further than I realized. So I'm hoping any New Yorkers, any Long Islanders, Dolly, you have to make it happen out there, sweetheart. Dolly's a sweetheart. She's one of our little inner core. She's my girl. She's my girl. Yeah, she likes a lot of us guys. There's this dude, Thunderballs, too. Thunder, love you, buddy. You're not in New York, but, she got a little bit of a crush on him, I think. She's blushing right now. It's okay. The top 5 moments from the New York City mayoral debate. Attacks, jibes, wild stories, and again, it's just stupid. I know I should care because it's the biggest state and biggest city, right? Second biggest state, I don't know, whatever. It depends how you look at it. Us Californians, right? But he literally never had a job. This is one of the stupid arguments they were fighting at him, and he hasn't. Mamdani hasn't. The Johns, the Madams, and the Pimps because he wants to make prostitution legal. New York does it. It's taxed. It helps make it cleaner. I'm not going to say right, wrong, and different. Again, a lot of people just, this is, they have a thing about it. I got you. It's cool. Nobody likes Kathy. Nobody does. None of the 3 people are like, Nobody said anything cool like she's a lesbian or anything fun like that, but Mamdani can't explain how to pay for his freebies. He's a socialist. It doesn't matter. He wants to raise taxes. If that doesn't work, then he's got some maybe possible other ideas. Like, we're going to tax you if you just drive, if you talk, if you, And unexpected parade controversy. He said, I don't know. Whether candidates would boycott any parades turned into more controversy. I don't know what the hell that is. I can't believe that's actually one of the 5. There you go. That's 4 decent reasons. We got Soros back in this douche hole from, where's he? Jersey? Maryland, sorry. Close enough. Leftist Maryland Governor Wes Moore appears to be friends with, of course, yes, the Soros family. He was hanging out on George Clooney's yacht, which I'm assuming implies that George Clooney is in the Soros money, which is probably true. I call it deep state. Yes, George Clooney is definitely a deep state actor. Adorable, man. He's got to be enjoying the achrome because the dude has not really aged, considering. He's looked like he's older. It's even kind of a joke in Ocean's 11. Like, who knows how old he actually is? The guy could be a vampire that could be 400 years old for all we know. The guy's crazy. And he's like, it's good to look like you're 50 your whole life, forever. Especially when you live for 1,000 years. So, who knows? Who knows? We've got him, yeah. He's not spending the money for the Key Bridge. Not spending it well at all. In fact, our transportation guy, Duffy, is like, no, he's not being responsible with the money. He's not, I think I got him on tape somewhere. He's not being responsible with the money. Here it is. And he's not, I don't think we want to keep giving him the money. Like, no, here, he explains better. Let me
Mr. Secretary, in an exclusive interview with Spotlight on Maryland, we caught up with Secretary Duffy at BWI Airport during his surprise visit to thank air traffic controllers for working amid the federal government shutdown. You recently sent a letter that I reported on that basically expressed a lot of concern about the Key Bridge project. You mentioned that you were concerned about cost overruns, DEI hiring practices, and just even the timeline of whether or not that this project is going to get off the ground. Has the governor responded to you?
Not yet. But the problem we have is the federal government's going to pay for the project, but the governor's going to manage it. And when someone else pays at a wedding, you'll get the finest alcohol, you'll get the finest steak if someone else is buying. We need to make sure we're looking out for the federal taxpayer, and also we build this bridge. And so I don't think he's been a good steward with the money, but also we have sent a letter to all our partners that say they have to follow the law. And that means a long time ago we got rid of contracting based on race and sex. We're going to have them respond to us, give us information, and then we'll have an additional conversation with him. But we want to build this project in a way that is cost effective and actually can be built quickly. I don't know that the governor is on that path right now.
Spotlight on Maryland has reached out to Governor Moore's office for months, requesting interviews on topics that you, the viewer, have asked us about. Once again today, we were not granted our requests. We asked for details about the governor's schedule and if he is in the state. David Turner, Moore's senior advisor and communications director, replied, he's in the state, but we're not obligated to give you every meeting he has, so you can tell us whether you think he has the time or not. Meanwhile, this coming weekend, Democratic grassroots mobilization websites say Moore will be campaigning out of state for New Jersey candidates. Just miles from the collapsed bridge, local restaurant owner Tony Olmedo says he's still struggling.
Trickle down to everybody, from our vendors to the truck drivers, maybe having the bridge so the vendors don't have to go all the way around and charge extra for the fuel. I mean, it's gotten pretty bad.
Yeah, they're wasting billions just like they do in California, like Gavin Newsom. Gave his close family and friends $500,000 from the Pacific Palisades Fire Aid Relief money. This is pretty messed up as well. Check this out.
Let's talk about the John Paul Getty Trust. The Getty Trust received $500,000 from fire aid money for its LA Arts Community Fire Relief Fund under the category musicians and artists. I'm not sure why the Getty Trust needed any fire aid money, since their most recent IRS form declared a revenue of over $370 billion in 2023 and assets totaling $12.3 billion. The trustee president and CEO, one person, received a salary of $3.7 million. So what exactly did the Getty Trust need $500,000 of fire aid money for? Well, I guess it's just a little petty cash to exchange amongst friends, because as you may recall, the Newsoms and the Getty families have been socially intertwined for generations. When Gavin started Plum Jack Wine, it's terrible, don't drink it, in 1992, it was backed by an investment from the Getty family. It's also interesting to see that the Getty Trust received fire victim money from Fire Aid, since it may bear some responsibility for the extent of the Palisades fire itself. The Getty Trust was recently added as a defendant to the Palisades fire lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges that the residents of Pacific Palisades have been asking the Getty Villa to maintain their brush surrounding its property since 2015. Despite billions of dollars in endowments, the Getty Trust repeatedly failed to comply with its obligation to manage their dead vegetation around the Getty Villa. Wouldn't it be crazy to be the cause of a fire and then collect fire victim money? Sounds pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily crazy. And so again, these things are being brought to the surface. People, no matter what party you're in, when people are stealing your money and you find out that the rumors are actually true, that the Democrat Party and other Rhino, Republican, deep state, whatevers, are all doing this, man. It's disgusting. Or woman. We got, bust federal prosecutors charged 2 real estate executives in unrelated cases with defrauding California's Home Key program. They misappropriated millions intended for homeless housing. This is the kind of stuff these people do. And it's not that it's Dems. It's such an easy label to throw on people. There's a bunch of good Democrats. There's a bunch of good people that are Democrats. And they just don't know what they're doing. There's deep state people on both sides of the fence, even independent deep state assholes. So again, I mean, what's Bernie? Crazy ass Bernie. I don't even know. Bernie might actually be legit. He's just so friggin' nuts that who knows, whatever the case is. I'm not going to play this 2 minutes. I'm already long enough. Jay Jones, he actually apologized, finally, by the way, in the debate while he got called out on it. Apparently, Miyares is kicking his ace. He's getting beat up on. They had again, I don't have anything from it. I don't frankly care. I do. I care about the election, and I'm glad because we've actually helped shift the tides. But yeah, ultimately, there's too many states. That's why I kept trying to get you guys involved, and then I realized, I don't know, maybe that's kind of hard. Like you're in a small state like Rhode Island. You're like, what am I supposed to do? Just talk about Rhode Island all day? Who's going to listen to me? Be like the 14 of you that live in Rhode Island. It'd be awesome. That's all that matters. U.S. Attorney General Bill Eseli. He announces California Democrats mishandled millions of federal tax dollars meant for homeless housing. I guess hitting that story doubly hard. Counts. New Georgia project shuts down, ending a decade of political influence in the state. This was, of course, our good friend Stacey Abrams. This thing had been going for about 10 years. It's shut down now. U.S. aid money dried up. You Stacey Abrams fans out there? Just saying. Radical leftist man in Kenosha now faces felony charges for threatening to assassinate ICE agents. Whoops, you mean I can't do that anymore?
Kenosha man is in custody accused of posting videos threatening federal agents. Andrew Stanton is facing several charges, including threats to kidnap, assault, or murder a U.S. official. Videos discovered by the investigative team at our sister station in Milwaukee show the suspect encouraging people to shoot immigration agents.
No, Your Honor. I was just fucking around. Yeah, we know what happens after that. We do. We're kind of burst. Maybe I just made your ears bleed because I said the F word. Sorry. The majority of Democrat House hopefuls refused to commit to backing Hakeem Jeffries as party leader. This dude's on the outs. He hasn't accomplished anything. He sucks. And frankly, I bet, they haven't said it out loud, but I bet. It's like, dude, have you ever listened to him talk? Like, what it would take you 15 seconds to say, it takes him a minute. I don't have that kind of time. I can't handle listening to him anymore at all. Your clickbait. Enjoy your clickbait, Fetterman says. I like this dude. I like this dude a lot. I can't help it. I don't know. Oh, that's not helpful. You're just going to put words on the screen and then music in the background? Yeah, but Fetterman shares study of left-wing terrorism reaches 30-year high, slams Democrat rhetoric. We played it yesterday. He's just talking about how everybody wants to replace him now. I think that's maybe the story. Oh, no, it's just, yeah. Yeah, they want to replace Fetterman, though. They're going to try to primary him. I think that was in that story. Virginia Democrat Jay Jones, who wants Republicans and their children to die. He's losing handedly to Jason Miyares. Also, Winsome Sears, the lovely lady on the left. That's a beautiful necklace lady. She is gaining on the Democratic for governor. So, again, if any of you guys live out there in Virginia, you make sure you vote. You got to vote. Everyone has to vote. I got to do my stupid vote. I hate voting, too. I will be voting. I voted last election. I'll vote this one, too. Especially with the stupid gerrymandering thing. I got to vote. And I don't have holes in my ballot, so I don't even have to worry about faking it. Democrats' unity dinner. Unity is what they called it. The unity dinner. They're drawing a little backlash. They had a anti-Trump sign that said 8647. We all know what that means. We all know what that means. And a sign that literally said MAGA equals Nazis. Huh. Okay. I mean, that's not very nice and certainly not very uniting. Maybe amongst your group of hate. It seems to unite you guys rather well, but the party of peace over here, not so much. Johnson floats surveillance reforms in the aftermath of the Arctic frost bombshells. That's the, 30 million lines of records they got from the senators' phones. I just love the fact, frankly, I'll be honest. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I mean, we've been spied on my whole life. So, yeah, spying on us sucks. This I love because it's Lindsey Graham, he's done a lot of scandalous shit. So when we talk about the military has everything, I think is one of those moments. I think in the middle of all this crazy stuff that was going on, we're hearing about these people. I bet you there's some others, but Lindsey Graham, he's not clean. Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, Probably not fully clean. Josh Hawley, probably not either. Dan Sullivan, I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about him. Tommy Tuberville, again, I don't know, questionable. Again, these are senators. If you're in for 6 years, you, Marsha Blackburn, I most of the time I like what you're saying, but you do some weird shit and have some weird votes every once in a while. So again, I don't know. I'm going to stay open-minded because I don't just assume since you got an R next to you that you're okay. We'll see. Your voting needs to be perfect going forward, and we need to get more people. And certainly I don't want to lose some of these people. Like, I mean, once Al Safe, in the defense of Marsha Blackburn, I think she'll, if it matters, you know, if it's a MAGA thing, I think she'll vote with us, right? I don't know about all these guys. Howley, I think, would. Tuberville, I think, would. Ron Johnson, pretty sure would. Lindsey Graham, don't know for sure, probably, right? But anyway, again, I know I piss people off sometimes because I fucking throw shit at everybody. U.S. courts set to run out of money. They're going to begin furloughs of shutdown lingers. I don't think this is going to affect district courts. Judges, no, doesn't affect at all. Their staff, maybe, but if they're one of the important people, then their staff is considered important. So they're allowed to stay on as an existential emergency kind of thing. And if you think about the district judges who consider what they're doing stopping Trump to be the most important thing ever, who wants to bet they're going to have fully functioning staff? So anyway, we'll see what happens. It's Reuters, and they spin it in their way, and it's just like, the reality of this is, ain't going to work out like that. We've got some cool case stuff going on. Court rejects Trump administration's bid to deploy troops in Chicago amid the appeal. So it got to the appellate court, and the appellate court didn't let him just go willy-nilly. So, hey, like we saw, the cops are actually arresting some people now. We'll see what happens. We got this big day coming up on Saturday, and it's like Trump was trying to send in the National Guard. So everyone's talked about the 14 to 17 cities that are going to possibly burn. Trump's tried. He's put the National Guard in certain cities that won't burn. Maybe this is part of how there's not going to be as many, but the ones that will burn will be the blue cities, the cities that have literally fought him tooth and nail. Portland, Chicago, LA. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I bet you I'll be able to see the smoke from my house. I actually won't be that direction, but I'll be able to see the smoke from my house probably when LA burns. I don't think I'm going to have people running in my neighborhood. It's not like that. I'm far enough away, and I don't think that's going to go well for anybody that comes into this neighborhood, frankly. We're prepared. I'm just saying. Police in Illinois just charged into a crowd. Yeah, we talked about this. Democrats panic over redistricting numbers with pivotal SCOTUS decision looming. This is a redistricting case. It really does sound like SCOTUS's old majority is going to lean towards the, you can't do it on racial reasons. That's illegal. That's unconstitutional. I know you guys have done that for this short period of time, but historically, you're just supposed to draw it by population groups, really. Counties are the easier way to do it, but sometimes you got to cut a county in half, and you just do it where it makes sense on the map, you know? You don't need to, there's more people over here of color than there is over here. Like, that's taking race into account. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited, but I don't want to get ahead of it. I don't want to put any sort of, extra mojo on it, if you will. Sometimes it's let it happen. Smartmatic charged with money laundering and bribing election officials. We've talked about the Philippine thing as well as the Venezuela thing. I think this is going to tie into the Maduro. I think we got a lot of things that are coming together over a short period of time, guys. There's a lot of information that people out there don't know, haven't digested, haven't connected the dots. I think that's some of what we're doing with our rippling. It's certainly some of what I try to do just with my everyday lack of sleep. Bondi DOJ backs warrantless invasion of gun owners' homes. This is a spin. Again, Zero Hedge is really tripping me out lately, or at least Tyler is. I'm seeing a lot of anti-Trump stuff coming from Tyler. So Tyler, I'm going to continue to call you out, and that's cool, man. Like, maybe you'll figure out a way to stop me from using your, you guys do great work for the most part, especially in the finance stuff, but you're bumming me out. That's all I can say. During the so-called emergency situation, what essentially happened, and again, I don't agree with going into a person's house and that just blaming Pam Bondi for a case that predates her by years is just mean. That's why I'm upset with Tyler, frankly. But that's what his issue is, not mine. But there was a situation where there was a wellness call. They went to the house. They're shining the lights and all the shit. Couldn't figure out. The guy wasn't coming to the door. Maybe they thought they saw somebody. Who knows? I don't know. And then they decided, what the hell? And they busted open his door and they went in and I guess ultimately shot him. I mean, the way they do the story is like they just busted open the door and went in and shot him. That's how the story's told. Unlikely it went that way. They probably busted in the door, probably freaked the dude out. He might have been sleeping upstairs, and like I would do if my alarm goes off in the middle of the night or something, first place I'm going is to my gun. So, yeah. And so you now have a weapon in your hand and there's someone in your house, but it happens to be the feds. Now they feel they have a right to shoot you. Well, they broke in without a warrant. They're broken into your house. How did you know? They didn't announce themselves. So, I mean, again, this is a great case. And I think the Fed is screwed on this one, and I hope they do. But to say that Pam Bondi's somehow supporting this, I mean, she's not necessarily pulling it back. Maybe she will, but it's already apparently in the court system. So, I don't know. It's the Montana Supreme Court. We'll see what happens. I just think people being mean to Bondi for no reason. Sixth Circuit rules in favor of school ban on Let's Go Brandon sweatshirts. Another example of something that a lot of people get all kind of weird about. But one, kids are bullies and assholes, especially in middle school. Just one of the worst times for people at all. People get bullied, and if you're going to be like, I want to make a statement to the school and put some weird clothes on my kid, that's going to get him singled out. Now, your kid might learn to be tough. Maybe he's a big badass, sure. But he's going to get harassed. Now, do I think it's cool to wear pro-Palestinian stuff instead of pro-MAGA stuff? Like, there needs to be a neutrality and an equality there. But this is definitely to the left, and the left gets triggered, and the left actually does violence. People on the right don't. We'll bless you and shit like that. But we don't necessarily freak out. People on the left do. Fact of life. Right? You can try to put, laws in place that mandate people to behave a certain way, but God, now you're behaving exactly like a liberal. You want to put laws in place to force people to behave a certain way. People freak out. So putting your kid in harm's way, frankly, I don't think it's a good idea. You don't want to stand out. One of the biggest things I teach people, frankly. You don't want to stand out. You don't want people to remember you. I don't mean that in a bad way, because I know it's good to get out there and do your thing. And if that's what you're here to do, do it. But if you're worried about your property, if you're worried about your loved ones, if you're worried about standing out, someone knows where you are then. And if they've got an issue with you and they're already deranged, you just put a big giant welcome sign on your front porch. So be careful. That's all I'm saying. I think it's smarter to be smart these days than patriotic outwardly to everybody. They don't need to know. There's a lot of crazy people out there. Why the hell would I tell all them my inner workings? No, bad idea. The few of you that know me, you know my inner workings. That's cool. I don't need to just broadcast it. So again, be careful, guys. 22 states sue the EPA over canceled $7 billion in low-income solar grants. The states were going to steal a lot of that money. Again, we're talking about a lot of your standard places that you would expect, the blue states, expecting to get a bunch of this free money. Trump shut down all the free money to the blue states. He's creaming them. The blue states are bankrupt and will be and continue to be, and they should be. They're horrible. Democratic donor Ron Conway resigns from Salesforce Foundation over Benioff's National Guard comments. Benioff just said, dude, it's dangerous. All sorts of criminals. There's people that have gotten mugged that work at my company here, and they've got buildings right there in San Francisco, beautiful part of San Francisco. And Benioff's like, yeah, send the National Guard in here. Be awesome. So now all of a sudden he's being canceled by the left, which again, it's normal. I'm not shocked. Biden and Chopra's CFPB didn't know that it's kind of a stupid story, but essentially there was 100 people that were credit consumers that didn't get screwed specifically by the case. Like the case was going after Armenians that were doing some sneaky stuff, and that was all that that the city was looking at was people from Glendale that were Armenian with last names that ended in two different variants. That was it. And they admit, and they're like, we're kind of looking for a thing. There was a scandal going on, a scam. And so they were doing some investigation, right? And so the Biden administration came in and basically said, look, then you've got to pay all these people, because we did a search across the nation and we found a bunch of people with the last names IAN, where the last name ended in IAN or ended in YAN. And what they found, actually, by the way, was it was a bunch of people with the last name of Brian, and I forget the IAN, but it was another stupid, like, Armenian name. So that was stupid, right? So they were going to have to pay all this money to people that weren't even harmed or weren't even a part of it. They weren't in Glendale. Anyway, the Trump administration pulled this back and said, no, city, you don't have to pay that. It was stupid. So again, this is more of the nonsense the Biden administration does. Trump refiles $15 billion defamation lawsuit against New York Times. This was the one that the judge kicked back to the curb and said it was too much, too long. So they've refiled, probably with a shortened version of it. We'll see what happens now. Senior U.S. government officials confirmed the existence of UFOs in a shocking new documentary. There's actually a little piece of it here. It's kind of cool. Marco Rubio happens to be one of the people.
Something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
This is so secret. There have been very few people in our entire government that have been allowed or provided access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees. People have been hurt protecting and hiding this information.
Some people claim it would cost them their lives if they spoke out about these things.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
I've seen stuff too. I've definitely seen craft. I've seen top secret military craft, silent helicopter way back in the 93-ish, around there. That was pretty crazy. Flew over, just right over me. I was close to a military base and stuff, but it was super silent. It was a trip, but you could hear the whoosh, whoosh, and that was way back then. Definitely seen UFOs. Definitely have seen dead people. Definitely have interacted with ghosts. I've done some fun stuff, man. One of these days, we'll talk about it. But we're going to get into, I've seen aliens, too, 2 nights ago. We're going to talk about that probably at the end of the show. I'm not trying to, I have to, I guess, almost now. I'm kind of teasing it a little too much. But it was a trip. And again, the paralysis thing's what tripped me out. And then kind of the data dump that happened after was especially strange, because I'd kind of been wondering about this for a while now. So that's all that 3i Atlas crap, right? And it's not crap. Now, I actually give a lot more credit to most of the people out there, though they're not totally right. We'll get there. Trump details plans to make IVF more affordable through insurance guidance. It's a big deal. This was a promise made, promise kept. So he's making IVF easier. I think the drug cheaper is one big thing. Another head of a U.S. military Southern Command is stepping down. I would assume this is one of the 800 generals, and maybe they allowed them to spread this over a period of time. Whatever the case is, as of yesterday, he has stepped down. It's been an honor, yada, yada. So we'll see. I think this is more people that aren't good. The Wellness Company. Gotta love these guys. I really love these guys. Ultimate Spike Detox. If you rolled up your sleeve or know somebody, this thing specifically looks for the cleavage. As I like to say, it likes to motorboat. It finds that cleavage spot, it injects itself right there, and then takes it out of your system, removes it. It's designed specifically to find that sweet spot. Yeah, I meant that to sound as dirty as it was. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. Ivermectin section, they've got a few things now, and it's pretty cool. I just back on again. I want to do another 14. I want to do 3 weeks solid. and then kind of give it a small rest. But I want to see what happens with the little red dot things. A bunch of them have darkened, but not all of them. And so we'll see. I want to give it another go. That's why I ordered a second round. But that's the ivermectin mebendazole. That's a parasite cleanse. Incredible. 25 milligrams of ivermectin, also 250 milligrams of mebendazole. These are two things that take out parasites. If you do any sort of studying on parasites and viruses, because they're both antiviral as well, you will find a lot of strange connections to some of the worst sicknesses we have. In fact, they're finding skin cancers, for example. They've got the ivermectin cream. Eczema, the ivermectin cream's been actually helping with that as well. Ivermectin, and I would say outside and inside. If you've got an outside thing going on with your skin, most skin issues start on the inside anyway. So I would kind of be doing the ivermectin on the inside and some of the cream on the outside. People are finding with skin cancers, this ivermectin cream is making a huge difference, and it would, because that's kind of something that's majorly kind of top down, actually, right? Or I guess maybe it starts, however it works, it's still going to kind of come through it. So they've got some really cool ivermectin stuff. Their contagion kit's also very heavy in antivirals. I highly recommend that. If you're somebody that's super sensitive to the flu, the contagion emergency kit's got all the antivirals in it. It's got an antibiotic, the Z-Pak or azithromycin. It's also got the nebulizer and 5 vials of like that asthma medication, which will expand up your lungs. If you can't breathe and you're in serious, like if you're one of those people that like literally a flu could kill you, you want to have a contagion kit as an emergency kit. The second you start getting that tingle in the throat or even the nose or however it gets you, immediately start taking the ivermectin. Immediately. And in a lot of cases, it won't take form. What happens is stuff multiplies, and as it multiplies over hours, it doesn't take long, it becomes an overwhelming amount that's multiplying still. If as you start realizing, crap, something's happening, start taking it then before it multiplies further, and you'll actually start to kill it in its tracks. The antiviral stuff's incredible, so highly recommend all of that. We've also got appetite stuff. They've got really amazing appetite control products. The Drop is the new one. Everyone's losing weight like mad with this guy, right? Literally. It's an oral peptide, so peptide's just really small molecules. It absorbs very easily in your body. Combines this new breakthrough peptide with the MCT oil and CMOS to curb appetite, boost energy, and support metabolism. Drop works best as part of a long-term plan, not an overnight solution, right? If you want to lose weight over months like you're supposed to, because then otherwise your skin gets all gross, right? If you lose weight too fast, it's not healthy. You want to lose weight healthily, and you should get to a gym and start doing that as a practice, whatever it is. If it's in the pool because you're too overweight and it hurts your joints, fine, get in a pool. Okay, there's ways you can still do exercise that doesn't hurt the body. All said. Yeah, losing weight shouldn't be super easy. The drops help make it easier, and the rest of it should be a lifestyle kind of change. And you don't just go back to what made you fat after you get skinny, because you're going to get fat again. All happens. So again, they got a lot of stuff for weight gain, stuff for your gums, plastic detox. So they got a way to detox the microplastics that are in us. Again, I love these guys. TWC.health/OTF. That's TWC.health/OTF. It's just a healthy way to live, and it's doctors doing it. It's totally legal. None of this is illegal, and then literally mail it to you. You can do online doctor visits, which is super cool. Telemedicine. It's awesome. I actually did it once when I had to get the second bottle. I had to do a telemedicine with him. He just asked me a few questions, and yeah, boom, on my way. So awesome stuff. Check it all out. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. Heck yeah. Here's my girl, Tiffany. Yoo-hoo! Trump says no Chinese military allowed in Argentina. Let's check this out.
President Trump pledged wide-ranging support for Argentina's economy. At the same time, he said a red line for the South American nation: no Chinese military presence is allowed on Argentine territory.
I'm with this man because his philosophy is correct.
U.S. President Donald Trump expressed his support for Argentina's President Javier Milei during their meeting at the White House Tuesday. The visit comes days after the U.S. agreed to provide a major financial lifeline to the South American nation, the centerpiece of which is a $20 billion currency swap with Argentina's central bank, exchanging stable U.S. dollars for volatile pesos. The economic lifeline for Argentina marks an unusual move for the U.S., particularly under an administration that has largely stayed away from major foreign interventions. The White House has framed the deal as a strategic effort to stabilize a key regional ally.
Trump told his Argentine counterpart on Tuesday explicitly that he would be, quote, very upset about any Chinese military activity in the country. Back in 2012, Argentina let China build a 500-acre space station in the southern part of the country. The U.S. has long worried that the CCP could conduct secret military activities at the site.
My girl's got a lot of rings, but none on the ring finger. All right, baby. I'm just saying. I want to keep a man's hopes open. Never know what's going to happen in life. We import poverty, Italy's saying. They are importing all sorts of crazy poverty. We are doing this everywhere right now. The Western world is destroying themselves. Italy's figuring it out. Other nations, Hungary, Turkey, many others have figured it out. Poland's getting pissed about it now. France, I think, is getting a little pissed about it. England is starting to get a little upset, though you'd barely be able to tell. Outrage as Israeli fans have been banned from attending a football match in the UK. Literally. They're going to bar Israeli fans from attending the Tel Aviv's Europa League match against Aston Villa on November 6th. Because it's going to piss off the Muslims. England, dude, you guys are, I don't know. I'm actually starting to dislike you guys a little bit, frankly. And it's not the English people, obviously. It's the deep state has your country so badly. And man, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I really don't. Maybe once we get our shit figured out, we'll fly some stealth bombers over and blow up your, where's the castle? What's the castle called? Where the king's at? Blow up the king. Maybe London. We probably should just blow up London. It's probably what we should do. That wherever that the main London thing is, we'll blow that up. Maybe for you guys. We'll see. Who knows? We're busy. We got to make more weapons so we can blow more stuff up. Judges disqualify Le Pen from standing for election. Yeah, France is literally keeping the Republican-ish person or the conservative person out of the election. They've barred them from running because they said something bad, I think. They offended somebody or some stupid thing like that. So again, you can't speak truly in Europe. Got some stuff with China. Trying to anyways. NVIDIA chips keep ending up in China despite the export ban. I'd love to hear Tiffany tell us about that, but yeah, that's basically in a nutshell. China bristles as rare earths retaliatory curbs foment a G7 backlash. This didn't go the way China expected it at all. It went opposite of how China expected it. So again, China is funny. They've got this very self-centered view of themselves, and I don't think they're very good at looking outside of that very well. They're like, well, this is what we're going to do. And it's like, the whole world doesn't agree with you. Your country, you can kind of force that. The rest of the world's like, no. China caught in a large-scale espionage. We talked about this yesterday against the UK, but the case collapses now. The judge just like, nah, we're just gonna let that go. China was spying on England for 10 years. Thank God you guys don't make anything real crazy over there, right? Just scandal. You guys make scandal like nobody's business. And this is probably why Mr. Deer in the Headlights, Eric Starmer, whatever the fuck his name is. Deer in the Headlights is best for him. He's bought and paid for by China, probably. You guys are screwed in England. China threatens retaliation if U.S. pushes to abandon Russian oil. Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead, China. Retaliate. What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad China, bad China. Russia stuff, we got a little bit of that. We'll see what we can play and what we can't. Okay, I was wrong about this, by the way. I thought they would drive through the tunnel, but I assumed it was closer, but obviously not. And you certainly don't want cars breaking down in a tunnel underground. So train makes more sense. And that's what they were going to connect, train tracks under a boring tunnel. How boring is that? But yeah, needless to say, you'd be able to take a train to Russia, which would still be cool. So whatever. I just wanted to admit I was wrong. I was talking about driving, and that's kind of stupid, frankly. But whatever. Hungary informs Putin preparations are in full swing to host the summit with Trump. It's going to happen in Budapest. Don't know exactly when yet, but the peace plans are in process. U.S. shouldn't deplete Tomahawk arsenal for Ukraine, basically is what Trump's saying. He's like, look, here's the thing. We want to have a bunch of tomahawks to make sure if we need to be aggressive with anybody, that we got a lot of tomahawks to do it with. So right now, I don't consider the number of tomahawks we have to be sufficient to just be giving them out to other people right now. So we're probably going to know on that. Basically, that's, in a nutshell. Zelensky meets defense energy company representatives ahead of Trump's meeting. He's trying to drum up some stuff. He's with Raytheon, the Patriots, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. He wants F-16s, which I think, I don't know, they were General Dynamics. Did that somehow fold under McDonnell Douglas at some point or Boeing at some point? Anyway, whatever. Maybe they're all tied together now. But I know they want F-16s. I know they want Patriots, and they want Tomahawks. The Tomahawk, however he says it. It's kind of funny. Whatever. We have... This is what I wanted to play. Check it out.
Was he what? Where are you from?
From Ukraine. He actually had
Okay, good.
with me.
Good, yeah.
What if President Putin doesn't agree to peace in Hungary? What do you do then? Do you have...
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, what if? I think he will. I think that President Putin wants to end the war, or I wouldn't be talking this way. I think he wants to end the war. I spoke to him yesterday for 2.5 hours. We went through a lot of details. He wants to get it ended. I think that President Zelensky wants to get it ended. Now we have to get it done.
Yeah, I wonder at some point if he's like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing, Russian man? Like, I just wonder. I'm sure they didn't, but that would be funny as hell. Like, even if they're allowed to joke with each other, I doubt it, because they're two heads of state. They don't have time to dick off, I guess. But 2.5 hours is like, was he like rolling his hair, I should turn on the camera. It makes that funnier. But was he like, it's the, I was talking to Jenny the other day, and oh my God, she was saying, like, I just, it would be a good Saturday Night Live bit, maybe. But they keep missing President Trump's on sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. He actually talks about it here.
I have an obligation also, though, to make sure that we're completely stocked up as a country, because you never know what's going to happen. In war and peace, right? You never know what's going to happen. So we're going to be talking about Tomahawks, and would much rather have them not need Tomahawks. Would much rather have the war be over, to be honest, because, we're in it to get the war over. We're selling a lot of different types of weapon, as you know, to the European Union. We're not in it for that. We're in it to get it over. We're losing thousands of people a week, thousands of people. Russian, Ukrainian, and mostly soldiers. Mostly soldiers. But we're in it to see that end. And if we can end quickly, and I think we can. I had a very good talk yesterday. We're going to be talking about it. But I had a very productive talk yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. But the war in the Middle East was far more complicated. We got that one done. And I think we have a good chance. I think President Zelensky wants it done, and I think President Putin wants it done. Now all they have to do is get along a little bit.
What a lot of people don't truly appreciate, it's not just the fact that there'll finally be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. We'll actually have a moment where the dark forces aren't receiving loosh. Just a little bit of fear programming, but that's going to wane so much that the dark won't receive loosh. And without the loosh, without the energy that we feed them through our negative emotions, they wither up and die. Literally. They become like California raisins. So we're doing huge things right now. You guys are way better than you realize. I guarantee that. 99% of you do not realize how incredible you are. You specifically. Yeah, you. No, you, not the one next to you. Trump just showed the kind of man he is.
He resolved 8 others. It's funny how people say that. If you get this one, every time I do one, they forget about that one. I solved 8 wars. Go to Rwanda and the Congo. Talk about India and Pakistan. Look at Thailand. Look at all of the wars that we solved. And every time I solve one, they say, if you solve the next one, you're going to get the Nobel Prize. I didn't get a Nobel Prize. Somebody got it who's a very nice woman. Very nice. I don't know who she is, but she was very generous. So I don't care about all that stuff. I just care about saving lives. But this will be number 9. But every time I solve one, they said, sir, if you solve one more, you're going to be known as a peacekeeper. So to the best of my knowledge, we've never had a president that solved one war. Not one war. Bush started a war. A lot of them start wars, but they don't solve the wars. They don't settle them. And especially when when they have nothing to do with us. I saw almost, I guess, just about all of these wars had nothing to do with us. But I saved tens of millions of lives. The Prime Minister of Pakistan said, I saved millions of lives in interceding on Pakistan. And you look at Pakistan and India as an example. That would have been a bad one, 2 nuclear nations, right? So I say this. This is pretty much the last one, although I do understand that Pakistan attacked, or there is an attack going on with Afghanistan. That's an easy one for me to solve if I have to solve it. In the meantime, I have to run the USA, but I love solving wars. You know why? I like stopping people from being killed, and I've saved millions and millions of lives, and I think we're going to have success with this war.
Number 9 is the number of completion. 9 is a significant number, huge. And just to give a quick skinny on it's when I don't know if you guys know like what reduction is, right? Reduction's like the number 32. You would reduce it down to 5. Typically, you go down to one number, right? So 3 plus 2 is 5. 45 would be 4 plus 5 is 9. 112 would be 1 plus 1 plus 2, so it would be 4. It's just what reduction is. Now, any 9 number always reduces to 9. Always. Doesn't matter what you multiply 9 times, it will always work out to a number that if you reduce it down, it will be 9. That's how you know it's a perfect number. Now, interestingly, 3 and 6 are also 2 very interesting numbers. I think there's shifts of angles, but 3 will be 369, 369, 369, 369. It'll repeat when it reduces, depending on what you're multiplying it by. 6 is 693, 693, 693. Like, it does the same thing, but off-shifted, off-phased. And then 9 is just perfectly 9, always. So there's a number of perfection. It's interesting because it is technically the opposite of 6, which many assume is the devil's number. It's really more a number of physicality. But all said, the opposite of that is 9, which is perfection. It's a beautiful number. Some people try to spin it a different way. It's cool. You can believe what you want. But 9 is perfection. Google Pixel Fold explodes during a durability test. This dude's done this test numerous times. Now, he snaps it in half. This is that screen that folds. Just don't snap it in half if you buy one of these or have one of these, but this is not good.
Surprisingly, in the decade that I've been durability testing phones, I have never had a smartphone explode before. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold is the first phone to go up in smoke.
You're never going to get that smell out of your microphone, Bo. Ever. Ever. Ugh. Right? Where is it? He's got these mics right in here. Oh, Lord. I mean, he can hear it. That's cool. And it's smart to have multiple mics because you can turn the difference up. But yeah, don't do that. That's, I guess, is the simple one. Don't bring that one on your airplane, I guess, either, and then snap it in half. That's probably a bad idea as well. Obama's $1 billion presidential library looks like the Tower of Doom. Kind of funny because it does look similar. I pulled it up. But yeah, the Tower of Doom. This is the new presidential library. It's kind of weird, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever. It's obviously got some darker purposes because Obama is truly one of the worst. Oh, yeah, that's right. This is where I got my thumbnail today, trying to get Grok to help me create a pole dancing Schiff or a pole dancing Schumer. It didn't like the pole dancing thing. It was having a really hard time with that. I don't know why. Apparently it's not kinky enough or something. All said, I love you guys, and we're going to continue to make a difference in this world. Oh, this is what I meant to have here. Boom. Now we're talking. Ace Freshly, I think it is. It's a real name? Freshly? Oh, okay. I don't know why I was reading it as Freshly. But yeah, Freshly. He died. Very sad. So this week we're doing Moody Blues, by the way. So today I'm doing the Moody Blues because he died this week. I'm pretty sure Kiss is probably going to be called out next week. I don't know. Maybe that's just going to be the thing. I'm just going to do, every week I'm going to choose my music based off of which musician that I like just died. So I guess Kiss is on the list. 'Cause you'll kiss, yo kiss. I might even pull that song in there just because there's a connection in there. But Kiss will probably get featured in some cool, awesome way next week. I might even really function on the word, use them a bunch. But then, like I said, that Hall & Oates Kiss song, Your Kiss is on my list. Maybe I'll have some cool songs like that. There's a few of them. Prince has a good Kiss song, doesn't he? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do next week. That's what it feels like to me. If you guys want a copy, feel free. I don't care. We'll see what music songs you choose, and we'll see which ones I come up with. We're going to be doing a lot, though. The world's changing quickly, literally to a new world. It's not going to be like it used to be, and it looks like government's going to be changing drastically, too, unless the Democrats do something serious soon. Otherwise, it's going to change a lot, so we'll see. Prayers, everybody. Stay strong. Keep positive thoughts in your mind. Focus on where you'd like to be, and we'll get there. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Oh, I got to tell you the story. Shit. Okay, well, tell it now. I almost forgot, huh? Okay, so I had the dream 2 nights ago. I just heard people screaming at me all of a sudden. All of a sudden, the planet got silent after everyone screamed. Okay, so I woke up and I look over on the side of my bed. I mean, I don't want to go back too far. I had a dream where I was paralyzed. I had my back to the door. I knew someone was in the room. This was back when I was 10. And I couldn't move. And I was, Dad, Dad. I was trying to scream for my dad, and I couldn't. And then at some point, I was able to move again. Exactly happened again. Only, like 42 years later. And so we now have a problem. Well, not a problem. We have a situation where I literally... I'm dreaming, I think, because I wasn't fully awake, but I was in a weird dream-like state, but it was real. It was one of those dreams that are so real, you wake up and you're like, oh, this is real, right? Like, literally call people up and you're like, did you just offer to have sex with me? And they're like, no. That's a weird question. You're like, that dream was strange. This last night was, or 2 nights ago, I looked over at the side of my bed. I got a king-size bed, and it was the opposite side from where I'm sitting. So it was like out of reach. I couldn't reach. And it was this smaller sized creature. And it looked like they were wearing like a school outfit, and it was a dress. So I was under the impression it's like kind of like a schoolgirl kind of thing. And I remember trying to talk to it and trying to reach out to it, and I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. I was doing the same thing. And it apparently was aware of the fact that I was struggling with what it was doing, because it was just focused down. It was doing something on the side of my bed. I have no idea. Like, I didn't know I had some sort of pull-out terminal on the side of my bed or whatever, but it was doing something. And it was down focused. It was looking at what it was doing, and God knows what that was. Like, it was like I was on a med bed almost. And then it looked up at me as I was... And it had, like, where its eyes were was just black. Black. Kind of like a gray. Grays have those oval eyes, right? But it was smaller. It was one of the small ones. And here's the thing. I don't think it was trying to harm me. But what I did notice after, like, I woke up, finally, and I was able to move again. Very weird. Very real. Very real. And then I remember... all I could think about was the 3-eye atlas. It was just all these different angles, all these different things like people have said out there that I've seen. I've seen a lot of videos. I've watched a lot of videos on this. Seen a lot of different perspectives. And people saying it's intelligently controlled. People saying that there's multiple different entities that are involved with this. That there's actually a nefariousness to it. That there's actually this hidden mechanism where they're trying to hide it from us and make it look like it's a comet when it's not. Trying to say that stuff spun off from it and is heading towards Earth. So there's been a lot of stuff. Now, one, it's a lot coming from one individual, by the way. And this is what's bugged me so much for the whole thing. One guy, Ivy Loeb from Harvard. Okay, so I have huge issue with the fact that it's just one dude. Why aren't there other observatories that have been looking at it? And I know right now we're behind the sun, but they had ample time to look at it before the angle sucked. Plenty of time. Why don't we have better pictures of it? Ground-based telescopes would actually take a pretty good picture of it. Sky-based ones like Hubble or I keep drawing a blank on the Webb, the James Webb. Those aren't meant to look at things close in our neighborhood. They're like otherwise we could stare at Saturn and probably learn some really cool stuff. But even Saturn looks kind of blurry when James Webb looks at it. James Webb's meant to look at things really, really far away. Hubble can kind of look at Saturn and get a decent thing, but it's still meant to look at things way far away. It's just the focal point where the lens is at. It's just really hard to focus something that close. Now, what I kind of came to, and I'm going to keep this kind of general because it is. When I said everyone's kind of right and, nobody's really right, there is so much energy that has been put on this. And I kind of remember when it first got brought up, I no offense to anybody, but I think Cliff High was one of the big people that really started talking about it. And he says, my data shows that this is going to be something that everybody's going to have this emotional connection to. And so he starts talking about this thing early on, starts talking about some of the stuff Ivy's saying, basically agreeing with him, and saying this is strange that it's coming in at the at this angle, at this speed, at this, it's like, all right, whatever. It may be, but whatever. So a lot of attention started going in that direction. Cliff High is certainly a person that is involved in this circle a lot. So this represents a lot of things to a lot of people. There's many races from other places that are thinking about this thing. So there's a lot of remote viewers that have dug into it. So they're like, we see all these different nationalities, different planets, the Lyrans and the Syrians and the Andromedans and the Octurians and the Pleiadians and the whatevers, right? Probably the reptilians too. So all these different energies are focusing on this thing because there's so many of us that are focused on this thing. Some of us think it's a comet. Comets are harbingers of change, for sure, always have been, and these are definitely changing times. The fact that the government shut down during this huge moment of harbinger of change seems strikingly interesting to me, though many people want more than that, but that actually for me is plenty. So it can be a comet. And is. That's what it looks like. That's what it's appearing as. Now, people are seeing other things based off of, don't know exactly, fuzzy images, one of the things I see. Again, I'm not saying anyone's wrong. What I am saying is it's all these things. It is something that's bringing attention to aliens and UFOs. It's something that's bringing attention to other planetary figures. But the thing that really hit me was the wow signal. They said it comes from similar area, off by possibly 7 degrees, which is huge when it comes to space, by the way. Huge difference. 7 degrees is like you're never going to get anywhere near what you're aiming for. You missed it hugely. So 7 degrees is enormous. 0.7 degrees is enormous when it comes to navigating. Whatever. We are moving through the universe, so who knows? But what it did remind me of, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of ancient stories, a lot of people that have done digging, a lot of different languages, and again, a lot of different cultures that talk about these visitors that come here. Cyclically. Now, there's stories about this thing called Planet X, and there's a strong chance that the Anunnaki are tied to the Planet X. And then we've got this other, which I think was done later in different languages, this concept of the Elohim. So you've got Anunnaki and Elohim. Likely, possibly, the same thing. Possibly. And you've got this Planet X thing. I'm calling it on a separate sort of area, but that could easily tie into those things. There's this 3,600-year cyclical path that it takes. The secondary sister sun that we might have that comes into the solar system every so often and causes a hell lot of havoc when it's here. And quite possibly has advanced beings that are super cool with technology, but, maybe not necessarily morally so. And when they come into contact with us, they actually come down to our planet and check on their genetic babies. We were genetically created. The Garden of Eden's a concept of that genetic creation. There's a lot of old Hebrew that would actually suggest that. I'm not trying to put anything in people's mouths or minds, but this is quite possibly this thing was maybe shot out from as a probe, possibly, or a reminder of what is coming because this thing might have bounced into something on its way in But to me, there's a strong chance that we're going to see some very significant things in the heavens over the next few years. And the magnetic field of the sun is changing right now in a very significant way, and it probably directly ties to this. So we're going through a very interesting time. And I think 3i Atlas is actually having a lot to do with that, and I think that is a big part of why the experience I had happened. And then maybe they were just fixing some shit that's been a little jacked on me. I don't know. But I think they were doing some benefits. I was never scared. Even when I saw their eyes were missing, I'm like, oh, okay. Different than I thought. I'm probably happy that there's not a child standing next to my bed right now, because that would be weird. I'm going to get in trouble for that probably, right? Like, your normal mind starts getting weird. But I'll never forget the dress, the color of it. It was like a lightish blue and white stripes, like big stripes, thick stripes, like 3 inches across or whatever. It was weird. I went looking for like school outfits for kids, and then I was just like, man, I'm going to show up in a pedophile database if I keep doing these kinds of weird searches. So I just gave up on it. I couldn't find anything that looked like it. I wanted to show you guys, but I didn't find anything. All said, it was an interesting experience. I haven't had anything like that in a long time, and I assume this is also part of the changes that we're all going through right now. A lot of us are going to advance as necessary for where we're at. So again, sorry I took the extra time, but almost forgot to tell you guys. Anyway, I love you guys, of course, and yeah, Dan Radio Style.